Day 3 of Monica's bad court thingy. A cross-examination resumed with Monica again, continuing to be defensive, evasive, and argumentative with counsel. Every question put to her was a battle. She was surly, at times rude, and did everything she could to avoid directly answering counsel's questions. Aware that the purpose of cross-examination is to extract evidence from a witness that will weaken the other side's case, Monica's approach seemed to be, well, I just won't admit to anything if I think it could weaken my case. Extracting any kind of concession from her was like pulling teeth, even when presented with black and white evidence which contradicted Monica's prior statements. She still held her ground and refused to back down.
On the way to the protest.
Counsel for the state of Victoria spent most of her cross-examination attempting to establish that Monica was at the protest on 31st October as a protester/activist. She wasn't there as a journalist. You'll recall that Monica said in her evidence-in-chief that she was there as a journalist, not to protest, and should not have been arrested. Counsel played a video clip of a Facebook stream that Monica had taken on her way to the protest on 31st of October. She was in the car with Morgan, her mum, and dad. In the stream, Monica told her audience that she was on her way to Treasury Gardens.
There might be a special bus there. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to report on it,
she said, referring to her Sac Dan Andrews bus. In the Facebook livestream, Morgan spoke about the protest and ranted about PCR tests, masks, and COVID lockdowns. Monica's parents also shared their views about the government's COVID response. Counsel put to Monica that she was trying to encourage her followers to come to the protest, which Monica vehemently denied.
I'm a journalist reporting on a protest.
I put it to you, Ms. Smit, that this is a video of you having a chat with your boyfriend whilst in your parents' car.
Right, while reporting about the event.
Anyone watching that video would reasonably infer that this is a video of two people live streaming a discussion about their opinions.
That's your opinion.
Counsel, in a slightly sarcastic tone.
You call that journalism, do you?
I was going to Treasury Gardens to report, and I was reporting on the feelings of the people in the car with me who were going through the worst lockdown in the world. And I was reporting on it.
Counsel pointed out to Monica that the people in the car were all relatives, or in a relationship with Monica.
So what if your dad was the president of Russia and you did an interview with him? Does that mean you're not a journalist?
Don't you think a journalist conducting an interview with a close family member raises issues regarding a conflict of interest?
You can't put words into my mouth.
Counsel for the state of Victoria then played another video, a live stream of Monica walking with her parents and boyfriend to Treasury Gardens. Monica asked her parents and Morgan some questions about the lockdowns and the protest.
In most of this video, I am asking questions, lots of questions, very journalistic in nature.
She sounded pretty pleased with herself, unaware of what was going to come next. This video featured Monica using the word "we" a lot when referring to the protest.
This is what we are doing. We want to protest peacefully. We just want to do some speeches. All we want to do, we don't want to riot.
Counsel pointed out Monica's use of the word "we," suggesting that "we" indicated Monica was going to Treasury Gardens to protest, not to report on the event as a journalist.
Well, I was with 3 other people, and I was there to report.
Oh, come on, Miss Smit. How is what you, your parents, and your boyfriend are doing newsworthy?
Reporting about what 3 people were going through during the worst lockdown in the world is newsworthy.
Okay, so anytime you're live streaming on Facebook, you're reporting, are you?
Yes.
Later in the live stream video, Monica mentions that she wants to avoid the police. Pausing the video, Counsel for the state of Victoria asks Monica,
Why do you want to avoid police? If you're a real journalist doing legitimate work, why would you want to avoid the police?
The next moment was one of the highlights for me. Counsel for the state of Victoria played another video from the day of Monica's arrest. It was another Facebook live stream taken when Monica arrived at Treasury Gardens. In the video, Monica said,
We're here. We're trying to save our country.
We're here, trying to save our country. Those are words spoken by an activist, not a journalist, wouldn't you agree, Ms. Smit?
No, independent journalists can save countries too.
Whether Monica knew the reasons why she was arrested.
During her evidence-in-chief, Monica repeatedly said that she never knew the reasons why she was arrested. Counsel for the state of Victoria then played more footage Monica had taken the day of the arrest, which proved the contrary. In one video, an arresting officer can be heard saying to Monica,
"So I've just been told, you've basically produced a work permit. Permit doesn't comply with reasons for being in a public place at this time. So I'm giving you a direction now to leave the area."
In the video, Monica then starts trying to challenge the officer, quoting her right to freedom of political communication. Counsel put to Monica that this was evidence that Monica knew police didn't consider her work permits to be valid. In response to this line of questioning, Monica accused the police officer of lying, denying that the officer had seen her work permit.
Yet in the video, you don't say, "But here's my permit, officer." You don't say we're all here working. The thing you thought to say first was about freedom of political communication. That's relevant to protesting, isn't it?
I also chose to say I was a journalist.
But that's not what you said first.
Well, maybe I was covering all my bases.
Monica started to get really mad, raising her voice.
No! He didn't give me a reason. He didn't give me a reason.
The judge ordered a 5-minute break, unrelated to Monica's outbursts, but to give the parties time to check the transcript so they could be certain about the exact words used by the police officer in the video. With the court now adjourned for 5 minutes and Monica clearly fuming at the questions being asked of her, Monica stormed out of the courtroom. She did come back a few minutes later, smiling, so she seemed to have composed herself quickly. 5 minutes later, court resumes.
Ms. Smit, in the video, the officer says the following words. What do you think these words meant?
The purpose of the question is to show that Monica understood the reasons she was arrested, to contradict evidence Monica had previously given that she hadn't understood why she was arrested. Angrily, Monica replied,
Why are you asking me what the officer said 3.5 years ago when it's on the video?
Counsel asked Monica the same question again, this time paraphrasing, summarizing what the officer told Monica.
Why would you summarize what he said when the words are right here? He said that...
Monica then proceeded to summarize what the officer said. Ha ha! Counsel for the state of Victoria played additional video footage which showed Monica knew the reasons behind each of her 3 arrests. Despite this footage, Monica refused to concede the point. She kept accusing the police officer of lying.
I'm not asking you whether you agreed with the officer's reasons. I'm asking you what you heard him say.
I heard him giving me a lie. Are you criticizing me for being quick-witted and knowing that he lied?
Eventually, the judge had to intervene and direct Monica to answer the question. Finally, Monica admitted that she'd heard the police officer tell her the reasons why she was arrested. She understood what he was asserting as the reasons for her arrest.
That's your opinion.
As mentioned, it was impossible to get Monica to make any concession. The closest she got was telling counsel, "That's your opinion," when she wasn't sure what to say. Counsel played another Facebook live stream taken by Monica on the day. This one was uploaded following the second time she'd been arrested. In the video, Monica tells her followers,
I asked police if we could still do the speeches, and they said the speeches could go ahead.
Counsel pauses the video and asks Monica,
If you were just there as a journalist, why would you ask if you could have the speeches? That's not something a journalist would ask.
I didn't ask, the police told me.
Counsel asked the court to play the video a second time. Monica is heard very clearly saying that she asked police if the speeches could go ahead. Monica said she'd asked because she wanted clarification, so she could report the facts to her followers.
Ms. Smit, I put to you that you're doing this as an activist, not a journalist.
That's your opinion.
You're inviting people to come to the protest as an activist, not a journalist.
That's your opinion.
What you're doing in this video is not journalism. It's you live streaming to your supporters, talking about a protest that you feel strongly about and encouraging people to attend.
While reporting on it, as a reporter, it's important to tell your audience what's happening.
The third arrest.
Video is played to the court of the lead up to the third time Monica was arrested. Again, this is her live stream footage. A group of about 20-25 people had gathered at Treasury Gardens, seemingly to join the protest. Police officers had started to surround them, forming a circle around the group so they couldn't easily run away. Monica films the group in the circle and refers to the police circle around them, stating,
There are about 20-25 people here and we just want to have some speeches.
At the time, COVID restrictions prohibited gatherings of groups larger than 10. If there was a group of more than 10 gathered together for a common purpose, that was a breach of COVID restrictions.
Ms. Smit, you were aware at the time that the CHO directions prohibited groups of more than 10 people gathering together for a common purpose.
Yes!
I put it to you, Ms. Smit, that the 25 people were all there for a common purpose.
No, I don't know why all those people were there.
Are you seriously suggesting that the other people gathered around you weren't there for the protest? You made an appeal for people to come down to Treasury Gardens for the protest. You then say, there are 25 people here, we just want to have a few speeches.
My opinion on why people were there is not relevant. I was reporting. I had no idea why all the people were there.
It's not credible for you to say that you had no idea why the other people in the circle were there.
There was no investigation done into why the people were there.
But after the protest, you made a video and said the people in the circle were there for the protest.
I had no idea why they were there.
But in the video, you just said they were there for the protest.
We're here holding a peaceful protest. I'm a journalist.
I'm putting to you that there's an inherent contradiction in that statement. You can't be a journalist and an activist at the same time.
That's your opinion.
You can't credibly assert you're a journalist if you say you're there holding a protest.
What, I can't multitask?
Morgan, muscled to the ground.
In her evidence in chief, Monica described how the police had arrested Morgan, her boyfriend at the time, and muscled him to the ground.
But he wasn't, was he?
Yes, he was.
But the videos clearly show that he was on his feet the whole time.
Maybe you and I have a different definition of muscled to the ground.
The ordinary meaning of the words to the ground suggests the person was on the ground.
I saw him muscled to the ground.
I'm putting to you that you didn't, because the footage clearly shows he wasn't on the ground at all.
Loopholes and speeches.
As mentioned, in the course of Monica's cross-examination, counsel played Facebook live stream footage that Monica had taken on the day of her arrest. On numerous occasions in these videos, Monica says there are going to be speeches, plural, at the protest. During her evidence in chief yesterday, Monica gave evidence that only Morgan was planning on speaking at the protest. This inconsistency was put to her during cross-examination, with counsel asking Monica why she kept referring to speeches, plural. Monica said she didn't know. She said only Morgan was going to speak at the protest. Counsel then asked the court to play another of Monica's Facebook live streams from the day of the arrest, taken after the third arrest. Monica can clearly be heard saying,
I haven't done my speech yet.
This video seems to indicate that you plan to do a speech, does it not, Ms. Smit?
Monica is clearly surprised by the video.
That's very interesting. I don't remember seeing that video.
The video was part of the court book, available to Monica to watch as part of her trial preparation. Guess she just didn't watch it.
Ms. Smit, would you agree with me that if you went to the protest to make a speech, then you weren't there as a journalist?
I kid you not. Monica then replies with,
But I didn't make a speech.
That's not an answer to my question. If you were planning to be a speaker, you couldn't be there for the purposes as a journalist. Don't you agree?
Monica, still trying to maintain she was there as a journalist.
But I made a report.
That was your cover.
I know it wasn't.
That's what you said publicly.
I never said that.
Does the word loophole ring any bells?
Oh, boy.
At this point, the penny drops for Monica. She realizes she's been caught out in a lie, and she knows what's coming next.
Well, before we go into that, what's the definition of loophole anyway?
Counsel then tenders extracts from Monica's book, Cell 22, where she said that she used journalism as a loophole to get around COVID restrictions.
Finding loopholes is not a crime.
Counsel then tendered video evidence of an interview Monica gave about 9 months ago, where she described how she would play the game and use journalism as a cover to promote protests.
I put it to you that the real reason you attended Treasury Gardens on 31st October was to protest, and journalism was a cover to get around COVID restrictions, wasn't it, Ms. Smit?
But I was still reporting.
Your behaviour on the day would have been perceived by police as the behaviour of a protester and not the behaviour of a journalist. Isn't that right, Ms. Smit?
Unbelievably, Monica continued to try and avoid answering the question.
You're asking me to comment on what my behavior would look like to someone else? Objection. I raise an objection. My opinion about what my behavior would have looked like to police isn't relevant. Also, it's such a restrictive question.
The judge, patiently, described what counsel's question was asking and directed Monica to answer it. For the first time in 1.5 days of cross-examination, Monica finally made a concession, begrudgingly.
I suppose I would say there were elements that may have been perceived that way.
Very quickly, she was back to her usual way of refusing to make any admissions whatsoever.
One example of your behaviour that may have been perceived by police as activism and not journalism was your presence with your parents and Morgan in front of the Stop the Sale of Victoria banner, where you waited for others to gather with you.
But I wasn't in front of the banner.
Ms. Smit, the video footage clearly shows you standing next to Morgan in front of the banner which is being held by your father. Wouldn't you agree that police seeing that would perceive you as an activist?
I disagree.
Counsel continued to ask Monica about her behavior on the day, running through examples of things Monica said and did, and asking her about whether she thought police would have perceived that conduct as the conduct of an activist.
On the day, you sought to negotiate with police, asking if you could have speeches. That's activism, is it not?
Elements, yes.
Damages.
In her evidence in chief, Monica said that after she was arrested, the politicians who previously agreed to be interviewed by her didn't want to be seen with her in public. However, when asked to name which politicians wanted nothing to do with her, Monica could not provide any names. She was given permission to think about her answer overnight. Monica also testified yesterday that as a result of her arrests and her experience with police, she was living in fear and fled Victoria. But during cross-examination, she admitted that her decision to leave Victoria had nothing to do with her arrests. That concludes Monica's cross-examination. Tomorrow, she will commence her re-examination, where she will seek to minimize damage done during cross-examination. Morgan is expected to be called as a witness also.